Hi, this is a video about how to set up your IP address using OpenSUSE for a web server administration course. So really quickly, and it's laid out pretty well within Moodle as well, we want to go ahead and we want to apply an IP address to Linux. I'll go down here and click on Computer. Now, it's been responding fairly slowly here, so I might just go ahead and pause as we go from screen to screen. So click on Computer. YAST is sort of the command center for the networking services and other services as well. Let's click on YAST. Because I've logged in as the regular user and not a super user as in root, it's going to ask me for a password, a root password as well. Remember when you first set up Linux that your new account that you set up, which in my case is Sean, and the root password will be the same thing. So I am an administrator on the system. So I need to enter that. I can go ahead and get the YAST Control Center. What I'm looking for are the network settings. You can also find network devices over on the left hand side as well. I'm going to go to Network Settings, go ahead and change the network address on my Ethernet card. What you'll see initially is Ethernet network card DHCP. On the initial configuration and installation, I should probably say rather installation, you'll see just DHCP and no particular information about your network interface card. I want to go ahead and edit that. Now in our class you have a range of addresses, 10.48.7, or you can use a 10 space address of any kind, or a 192.168 range address, whatever you want to do, and whatever you want to use depending upon where you're using this box at. I'm going to go ahead and use the 10.48.7 address. So we want to change to statically assigned IP addresses. I want to change it to 10.48.7.240. That's the one I'll go ahead and use. Our subnet mask, you can either enter the slash number, /24 in this case, or 255.255.255.0. My host name is going to be Sean. I'm just going to call this server Sean. Okay, we want to go ahead. Now let me note this. We just want to leave these numbers as is, numbers and name as is. We want to click on Next. However, if you want to add a second IP address to attach to this Ethernet 0, and we might want to do that when we add virtual hosts or another website, for instance. This is where you would click on Add and then set up the same information as you do in the add as you would here. I hope that's clear enough. I'm going to go ahead and go to Next, and then what I can see then is the Ethernet network card 10.48.7.240, and then that specific information about Ethernet 0 listed right there. I want to go to host name. Now initially it says just Linux and Linux site, or it may vary. The host name for this box once again is going to be Sean, and the domain is going to be linux.com. So when I access, let's see, there we go, linux.com. So when I access the site, it's going to be at sean.linux.com, and that's what I'll set up in the DNS, or as Linux uses bind. The name server, now just like the network operating systems class, we're going to point the name server, the bind, the DNS, right back to itself. 10.48.7.240, and the domain search is, let me try once again, linux.com. Okay, now the next piece is under routing. We're just going to go ahead, just like we did in the network operating systems class, we're going to leave the default gateway blank at this point in time. What we should be able to do is just go ahead and hit OK. It's going to save the network configuration. Now you can do a lot of this stuff from the command prompt as well, but this is just the GUI, and it's an easier way to get through and set this stuff up. Now from this point I need to go out. I've set up the IP address on the network interface card. I'm going to close this YAST and then go out and check to see whether it worked or not. So first of all, and you can see the GNOME terminal on my recent applications. You can also see it on my desktop. But this is where you'll find it initially if you haven't used it already. Go under More Applications, and on that application browser on Linux, GNOME Terminal command line. Just go ahead and click that and then open that. Now let's see first, let's type in ifconfig. And this is going to error. I'm going to point out something. It says an absolute path to ifconfig is sbin ifconfig. Remember, we can change the path to ifconfig if we wanted to. It's probably easier at this point in time just to type in the sbin, and remember, that's a directory. That's a directory within the top level of Linux. ifconfig. Okay, what we're looking for is this. We want to use this command, but we're looking for this. The total information. Let me try that once again right there. We want to look for the internet address, 1048.7240. Make sure it's there. The broadcast is fine. No worries about that. If you're a networking person, you'll understand that. But the mask, subnet mask that we had entered was 255.255.255.0. Now remember, that's a /24 subnet mask. So that looks like that works. I'm going to clear the screen once again and then ping 10.48.7.240. Okay, and it replies. Now Linux is going to go ahead and continue to ping and ping and ping until you tell it to stop by hitting Control-C. Okay, that'll end the ping requests. Or you can type in, I think on the command it's a -C space number of pings that you want to see. So with that, what we've done is set up the network. We've gone into YAST, set up the network interface card. We've gone back out to the GNOME terminal. We've tested to see if the IP address was set up correctly on the NIC by using ifconfig and by using ping. So that'll conclude this setup, this network interface card IP configuration setup. Okay, thank you.